Hello, and welcome to Big Yap Energy,
a weekly yap sesh with your new besties.
Join us to yap about everything books, pop culture, motherhood, and everything in between.
Sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and let's chat. Welcome to Big Yap Energy. I'm Kailey.
And I'm Neely. And guys, it finally happened. We are here with the one and only ELSIE Silver. ELSIE Silver is a #1 New York Times bestselling author of sassy, steamy, small-town romance. She's a born and raised Canadian girl who loves a good book boyfriend and the strong heroines who bring them to their knees. Her books promise banter, tension, and a slow burn that comes to a screeching halt. ELSIE, we are just...
Welcome!
We're so happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun.
Oh, gosh. I mean, guys, I was telling her this before recording, but this is like dream guest for me. There's nowhere to go at this point.
You've
like
peaked.
I've peaked. We're just wrapping the podcast up with this final. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, ELSIE, I have to tell you, I live in Texas. So reading a cowboy romance, I was always kind of like, I don't know if that's going to be my thing. Like I live here. Cowboys are not nearly as cute in Texas as they are made out to be in the books. Anyways, so I started reading the Chestnut Spring series, read that first, and I was like, oh no, I am into cowboy romances. Okay.
It's the gateway drug. Yeah.
It really was. And I read the first 3, which were out at the time. And then I was like the person salivating for the next books. Like, come.
Aww.
Bring them to me.
You've been on this ride for a while then. I love it.
Well, and then I went back and I had to read, like the originals too.
Yes.
As I was reading Chestnut Springs, I didn't realize there was like a further semi-related backstory. And I was like, my bad.
You're good. I always tell people to start with Chestnut Springs anyways, so.
It's just so good. It's like,
yeah.
I feel like it's easy too with like a standalone series where like not every book is good. And I remember at one point I tried to rank them and I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry.
Aww.
No. So good.
I mean, Daddy Cade is always going to be #1 because like, it's just
like the Carter Beckett of Chestnut Springs.
Yes. But it's funny because I was telling them I've watched now 7 out of 8 episodes of Off Campus.
Oh
that
my
came
gosh.
out yesterday, mind you.
Yeah, Neely texted me.
It's been
She's
a big
like,
day.
I'm starting it. I was like,
it was like,
I'll catch up. And then like 4 hours later, she's like, I'm on episode 4. And I was like, how long are they? Like, 22 minutes? She's like, no, 50. And I was like, I love that. I love that journey.
My kids went to school. My husband went to work. And I was like, I need to work. I'm going to watch this as I work. I got nothing done yesterday except watching 6 episodes yesterday. And then I watched 1 this morning. And so I have the finale. And I'm like, this is why I'm the type of person they should do weekly episodes for, because I have no self-control. Like,
right.
I can't space them. I'm like, no, I need to see what's next. And I had not read these books in so long that I actually did not remember anything that happened. So it's also all been a surprise to me because I'm like, I don't remember.
That's great.
Anything.
It feels fresh then. Yeah.
It does.
Right.
Okay. Should we do some 1s and 5s? Kailey, do you want to start or do you want me to start? We have the same 1 star.
We do have the same 1 star. So I won't, hit it too hard. But like May is just really Maying. It's Maycember. All the moms, everybody like out there know it's just teacher appreciation, the end of the year, like graduation, recitals, sports, like all the things. It's fine. My kids they were like, it's 11 and a half days of school. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then of course I'm like, okay, what like last minute appointments do I not want to like have to drag them to all summer? So I'm like my eye doctor.
I've been doing that too.
Just like all the random like last minute little things. And I'm like, okay, how much stuff can I pack in before they're home? And they're doing a couple camps, but like not a ton. So it's fine. We're just like taking it one day at a time.
What is your 5 star?
My 5 was yesterday was our 9-year wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary. I loved your wedding dress. When you posted that picture, I was like, oh, that's so pretty.
Oh, thanks. Do you want to hear a crazy story about that wedding dress? It's like
always
a little unhinged. So I knew the wedding dress that I really liked. I wasn't even engaged yet, but like we had talked about it. So I like loved this dress and I ended up, it wasn't like current. So I actually found the sample size on eBay from like a boutique. And I was like, okay, like, do we think I can like fit into this? Like, I'm looking at the measurements and everything. Again, I'm not even engaged yet, but there was like, this one from the sample size. And I was like, I was like, Mom, like, and it was like a great price. And like, I mean, still, anyways, I bought it. It fit. They had to actually take it in. And like, the rest is history. And we,
Manifested it.
On my wedding day, I had like not eaten for 2 weeks before because I was just like a ball of anxiety, and my wedding dress it was too big in the chest. And so my planner was quite literally just wrapping double-sided tape around me. Like they were just
gosh.
I don't know what to do for you.
Yeah.
But weddings are funny because like I look at my pictures and I was like, wedding skinny is literally like the skinniest you're ever going to be. Like it's like an actual phenomenon that like how you look on your wedding. I'm like, my body I've had 2 kids since then and I'm 12 years older, but still.
It's just like the fashion of it all. Like you can really like kind of pinpoint like when someone got married when you look at their photos.
You can do that with my engagement ring. I have the most 2013 engagement ring. It's like the halo. I'm like, oh God. I love it still, but I'm just like, my engagement ring completely, before anybody asked anything, I'm like, you can tell that I got engaged in 2013. It's right there. My 1 star is May. It's insane. My kids have, including today, 7 days of school left. They get out next Friday, and I'm actually really happy for school to end because my daughter has had like, she's great. She's 6. She's in kindergarten. She's had like a little bit of a harder year adjusting. So I think she's due for a little bit of a break. I'm just like in my feelings about my oldest, who will be a 4th grader next year, which seems so old, like so old to me. But I'm excited. And you were talking about doctor's appointments. I'm having my mammogram tomorrow. Speaking of doctor's appointments,
I don't
think they're bad. Like I just want everybody who's listening. Have you ever had one, Elsie? Like they're not bad.
I have pretty regular ones. I'm a cysty gal, so I don't think they're that bad either. I feel people were like, "Oh my God, get ready!" And then I went, and I was kind of like, "Ready for what?"
I feel like people made it out like this was going to be the most miserable experience of my life, and I was like, "Oh, mammogram over a Pap smear any day." Like,
yeah, every day, yeah,
like every day.
No
I had
contest.
that appointment a few weeks ago, and I was like, "Nope." It's been 30 years almost of doing these appointments. Still hate them. They're still terrible.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
the worst.
But yeah, my 5 star is actually, I interviewed an author last Thursday night at on her book tour in Dallas. And I felt really like that this was a big thing because she had previously been interviewed the last 2 days by Tessa Bailey and Julie Olivia. And I was like, and me? Like,
no pressure.
Not an author, just like a local book person, I guess. It was Lori Gilmore, who like, I don't know if y'all have read any of her stuff. She could not have been nicer. I absolutely loved her, but I was not. They told me it was sold out. I didn't realize it was like hundreds of people. I went out there and I was like, oh, okay. Like I could not even see how far back people went. I was like, thank God I didn't know. I'm actually extremely introverted in person around new people and especially in big groups. Yeah. So that was a lot for me. And I hate speaking into microphones other than this podcast where nobody is like, I don't know, like that doesn't make me as nervous as like a room full of people who are going to hear my immediate reaction. And I will say things that in my head are funny. And then like, if I don't get a reaction from people, I'm like, oh. And the good news with the podcast is I have no idea if I'm getting a reaction because
it's perfect.
I'm not with people when they listen.
Oh my gosh.
But it was still fun. And I felt like it was a big deal for me to kind of like get over that anxiety and fear a little bit of speaking in front of a large group. It helped that I did not know anyone in the audience. I don't think. I mean, there might have been someone there I knew because the Half Price Books it's the flagship store that's like 10 minutes from my house. So, but it was really, I mean, it was fun. And the girl that like works for Half Price Books who kind of like organized it, I knew in my early 20s, we were in like kind of overlapping friend groups. So we used to go to bars together a lot.
Oh, fun.
In our younger days. I was like, oh no, the only bar I go to now is Pure Bar. But Yeah, that was that. Elsie, what are your 1s and 5s?
My one is that I'm technically on deadline right now because I, in typical me fashion, left drafting till the very last minute. So this podcast is like a break from me being strapped to my desk because I have to send this book for the first round of edits on Friday. So tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah, that's like, it's not awful, but I get really weird when I'm in this like headspace of just like really deep into the book and like putting in big word counts and adjusting. And then I'm like, my brain is like, oh, what about that storyline? There's like all these threads that kind of come together in the last like push that I always end up doing. So it's like the motivation of knowing how good it will feel when I hand it in that keeps me going. And then I get to leave on tour on Sunday for the Fever Dream release. So
I have to tell you, you're coming to Dallas, and yes, I am going to be out of town. And what's really unfortunate is the girl who's putting that on has actually worked as a virtual assistant for me for like 7 years. And she was like, hey, like if you want to come to this and meet Elsie, I was like, yeah, I will not be in Dallas because
oh no,
of course I won't. I'm so sad about it though. I know. I was like, the only week I'm going out of town for like a while is when you are here. But
of course, kicking off
it should be beautiful weather while you're here. So I don't know how long you're actually in each city, but
like a day. I know everybody's always like, oh, you should see this or go here. And I'm like, literally, we wake up first thing in the morning, get on an airplane, like get to our hotel, get ready for the event, do the event, eat dinner, go to sleep, wake up the next morning.
For your dinner, might I suggest getting Tex-Mex?
Tex-Mex.
And like anywhere is good. That's kind of the nice thing about being here is like there's just like not bad Mexican food. But people are going to be like, go get barbecue. No, go get Tex-Mex. Other cities have decent barbecue too. Tex-Mex while you're here.
Noted.
That's it.
It feels very sad. What's your 5?
My 5, I think probably that this week we announced the Rose Hill TV show getting a green light.
I cannot wait.
That.
Yeah, which happened like so quickly in the world of Hollywood timelines. So yeah, super excited that we're kind of like diving straight into production on that one.
Do you feel like it's moving faster because of how many more adaptations are happening now? And so I almost feel like people want that more, like people want adaptations from books more than they want anything else at this point.
Yeah, it definitely helps. It definitely like any sort of excitement around like heated rivalry or off campus or any of those things only kind of adds fuel to, you know, studio decision making. But I also think like my showrunner, Heidi Cole McAdams, for that show is a freaking workhorse, like pedal to the metal, like no sleep for the wicked, has just worked tirelessly to kind of like get everything going. And then James and Annika at Temple Hill, same thing. Like I just think the team on this project was like, their strategy was like, we're just like going straight ahead, like no pauses, no breaks. And yeah, it's worked out.
Remind me what studio is it? Is it Amazon?
It's Prime Video. Yeah. So it's
so
actually the same combination as Off Campus because Temple Hill and Prime are doing Off Campus, and it's like the same studio, the same production company.
I feel like that went pretty fast. Like I feel like they like announced Off Campus, they cast it. Yeah. And then I mean like I guess just thinking about how even like 3 to 4 years ago, the adaptation world, like it would be like, this book has been, you know, optioned, and you would like, it'd be like 10 years before you heard something. And now it's for like, sure. And I think the show is out in 5 minutes.
There's always like, as someone who's been through this, you know, process a couple times now, it's like, you know, it happens behind the scenes, and then there's like the wait for when you can even tell anyone, but that's just the option. So like those first like blasts or press releases are like, oh, okay, like Netflix has purchased the rights to these books. But that's like not even remotely a guarantee that anything gets made.
Yeah.
Which I think like sometimes readers are like, it's happening. And it's like, oh my gosh, like it is actually so far from happening. You don't even realize like the sort of like ways that the clouds have to part and these jigsaw pieces that have to fit together to even get to where, you know, Rose Hill is at now. So
I know with The Idea of You, I can remember like around the time probably I read it, it had already been optioned. And then it might have been like moved around to like different places. Like I think that happened. And then it did finally happen. If you've listened to more than one episode of this podcast, you know how I feel about that. Listen, I am a big believer that the best adaptations are TV shows, and like I will die on that hill. I think movies are so hard to like, it's so hard to adapt something into a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
And not that it can't be like, I've seen it, like it's been done well. I just feel like the smarter move has been doing these TV shows where I feel like there's so much you can build off of it. And especially if there's like multiple books to it, then it just makes sense to do it as a TV show.
For sure.
But I'm so excited. I can't wait for that. We need that.
Too.
My heart needs it.
So good.
Kaylee, what are you reading? If anything, but you've probably read like 6 ACOTAR books since the last time we recorded.
No, I took like a break for like a hot second. I had to like pull it up. I finished June Baby, which was like from Jenna Bush Hager's imprint. And it's like, I just love like a beachy, like we're returning to this place for the summer and like there's a first love, like kind of like a will they, won't they. I like that. And then I also read The Shampoo Effect by, I think it's Jenny Jackson who did Pineapple Street. Oh my gosh, like, which was kind of like a family, like rich people behaving badly.
I really liked Pineapple Street. Yeah.
Yeah. I like Shampoo Effect. I read it while I was on vacation. So like that helps. Kind of like unlikable characters, like kind of a mess, but like a friend group. Again, like summer on a kind of like beachy island. Like I think you can't go wrong with those. So that is kind of like what I've read lately. What about you?
I am actually in the middle of rereading Every Summer After because I watched the trailer for Every Summer After and realized that I did not remember a lot of it because I've read, 600 books since then. And so I'm rereading it because the show comes out in June. And I will tell you, kind of back to the whole like Amazon thing, what I love that Amazon does is for the first season of a show like this, they release all the episodes at once.
Right.
Like the next season of The Deal, they won't, or Off Campus, they won't do that. It'll probably be like week to week. And they did it with The Summer I Turned Pretty, and they did it with Off Campus, and they're doing it with Every Year After. And I'm like, this will be another one, Kailey, where I'm like in the morning.
I'm gonna put you on D&D for the day. I'm like, don't tell me anything.
I will tell you, I'm with Off Campus. I was like, even if it's not a good adaptation, like looking back on the book, like so much of the misogyny and stuff, like they don't have in the show because like, I just don't think that book would be written in 2026 the way it was written in 2015. And so I really like my expectations for it were like non-existent because I was just like, I don't know, like it's a college, like I'm sure I will just like eat it up like Nerds Gummy Clusters via TV shows because it's just like, like you're here for the vibes and the music is great and all of that. And I have really enjoyed it. I feel like more of like an emotional attachment to Every Summer After because, obviously it was her first book. So it was the first book I read by her. I loved it. I read it. I vividly remember reading it in like a day and staying up till 3:00 in the morning. And I'm like a little more concerned about the adaptation, but I feel like she's like been pretty involved from like what I can tell. Like, are you pretty involved with Rose Hill or will you be pretty involved with it?
It's like a limit to how involved any author can truly be in this process. Some are completely hands off. I've definitely been working as like a consultant, I would say. Like I'm technically an executive producer, but I'm letting the writers like do their thing. There's definitely changes. Like there's no way to adapt those books to a series when they're so focused on just the couple and then not have like more storyline going on in the background to kind of like round out the whole town sort of feeling of it all. So I kind of was like really involved in helping out with the first few episodes and saying like, I don't love this, or, oh, I really like this, or sort of spitballing ideas with Heidi. But now that we've kind of got like the direction set, I've been like, okay, you guys run with it.
Yeah.
So if I hated something, I would 100% be able to tell them. But I also think there's something to be said for letting those creatives sort of like do their magic without me looking over their shoulder the entire time.
I was listening to the Kate Kennedy interview with Carol Claire Burke because they were talking about the Yesteryear adaptation.
Oh,
and I'm sure, Elsie, you can probably speak this, like, as an author, there's this, like, there's the book and there's the adaptation, and kind of, it sounded like what Kara was saying, like, as much as, fans want them to be, like, identical or, like, mirror things, exactly, like, they're not the same thing. They're two different things, and, like, being okay with that as an author and kind of, like, letting go of some of that. And like, even Kara was like, initially she was like, I'm going to do the screenplay. And I guess her agent was the one that was like, listen, like, this is a very different undertaking than like you writing and wanting to continue like your writing career and like a next book. Like, is this really what you want to be doing? And she was like, actually, no. So I don't think she did the screenplay. And it was like letting, this is in someone else's hands now. And like, your book is your baby. That adaptation is different.
Totally. I think my big thing with them was like, I want the characters to stay true to themselves. So like, you can add like, we want there to be like iconic scenes that are carried through, like that have to be there because that's just like part of the fan service of it all. But like, when we do add things, I want to make sure that like those characters are behaving in ways that are like true, because you don't see every single thing that happens in a book, right? Like there are other things happening off page. So yeah, just like keeping it consistent that way. Cause like I've learned so much about screenwriting too, like, further to what you're saying here is like, it's a different beast. And my books are super heavy on like internal monologue, dialogue, interiority, all that. And that doesn't translate on TV. Like they have to actually say it to someone, which kind of takes like it. So they have to kind of take it and be like, okay, but how do we express that to the viewer? Because we can't just tell them. And I'm like, yeah.
Right. I remember when The Summer I Turned Pretty came out, I never read the books, but I watched the show. And I remember people being like really upset about some of the like bigger changes from the books. And that's how I felt with The Idea of You, where like some of the bigger changes were like really hard for me because it was a book I loved so much. But then there was a show like Normal People, and I loved the book Normal People, and I loved the show Normal People. And there were changes, but I felt like kind of like almost like you were saying with Off Campus, it's like they can't have every season be just two people. Like it can't only focus on two people. Like they have to kind of mesh the storylines in, or it just like won't make sense. Yeah. And I feel like they've done like a pretty good job of that.
Okay. I haven't watched it yet. I'm saving it for tour. I'm like, I'm going to binge it while I'm on planes.
Yeah. Like I won't give anything away, but I do feel like it's still like very highly focused on Garrett and Hannah, but I feel like you see kind of almost like little layers of other things that will clearly be like explored further later.
Neely's just bought her
super interesting to me.
Selene would never drive a Subaru.
That was really hard for me in The Idea of You.
Same thing.
I said it. No, Elsie, I said it out loud in the movie theater, like too loud. I was like, she would never drive that car.
This is my thing about like, that's not just adding to the story, that's actually changing like what is kind of intrinsic about that character, right? So it's not just putting her in different situations.
It wasn't.
I think it was, but also as a woman, I felt a little bit like I was like, oh, are they just trying to make her more likable or like more relatable? Because I kind of liked that she was prickly, and
I did too, and I liked that she was like, I love that she was like so exotic and like so like so much of the book for me is like when the way that Robin Lee writes is like when she's like talks about her clothes, right? And she's like
so glamorous, right?
Elia dress and my Manoba Blahnik heels. And like you see Anne Hathaway in this like bucket hat and these like cargo shorts. And I'm like, what in the actual fuck are we doing here? Because
like not my Selene.
So it wasn't even to me that completely changed the ending and the ages of both her daughter and Hayes, which like I also had a huge problem with just like completely changing the characters. But it was like I felt like it just like took like a little bit from the book and they were like, he's kind of like Harry Styles. And that was it. And everything else was like,
well, it kind of changes like the essence of the story.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. I'm like, this is not the woman we read about, but
they blew through the travel like in a montage. And I'm like, that was the whole book. The whole book was like the places, like talking about these exotic. And I'm just like, I have tried to watch this movie 2 other times and been like, maybe with some distance, I will enjoy it for what it is. And I actually can't. Like, I can't enjoy it. And I said this on last time we recorded. I was like, why do we feel like we need to put Anne Hathaway in every adaptation? Like, we can put Anne Hathaway.
That could be a whole nother podcast. I feel like that is.
We don't need to. But okay, Elsie, what have you read or watched or loved recently?
Because some writers, Elsie, can you, when you're like drafting, are you, a lot of authors like, I can't really read because I'm drafting. Is that true for you?
Yeah. Well, I read less and way more slowly because it's like when you spend all day staring at words, you kind of don't want to like crawl into bed and do it all over again. But I will say that I've sometimes just go to a completely different genre. So I read The Only One Left by Riley Sager, which is like a thriller. I really enjoyed it. And then I just picked up Broken Dove by Danny Francis, like the second book in the Silver Elite. Because I really enjoyed the first book and I really got a kick out of everyone thinking that it was my secret pen name. So I was like, I'm going to read the hell out of this book.
Is that what they thought?
I had a great time. Sorry?
I didn't know that they thought that was you.
Oh, yeah. It was like a thing on social. People, even my author friends were messaging me being like, people are making some pretty compelling arguments. Like, are you sure you didn't write this book? And I was like, I'm positive. Like, when? You guys? Like, do you know like how busy I am? Like, no. But yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. Yeah. I feel like that's going to research. I loved Silver Elite, so I have a copy of Broken Dove. I need to go back. Did you like rewatch? I need all these like romantices. I'm always like, I need someone to recap this for me in like a 10-minute video because I don't remember.
I know.
I bet it's on. I bet there is. Oh, you don't have TikTok. I was going to say.
Well, I know. I need to go on like you again. Like I'm such a boomer. I'm like, let me get on YouTube and like I will find one.
You'll find something
because that is on my list because I need to like reacclimate. Did you finish it or you're still working on it?
Broken Dove?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I just started it. I'm excited.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, good. I'm excited for that one too. Okay, well, we can get into like the meat of it all now that we've, are off our adaptation soapboxes. So Elsie, talk about, take us through your author journey and tell us how you started writing.
Yeah, I started writing during the pandemic. I was working as like a freelance editor before that. And my work kind of dried up. I was mostly working with academics who were doing either their master's or their PhD in like sociology or education. So they were in like community outreach or police stations or schools. And obviously with the pandemic, that all sort of like their research stopped and so did my income. And so I was there with like my 3-year-old and my husband's job was deemed essential. So I was like locked up with him by myself. And my mom was like, you got to do something. You're going to go crazy if you don't like find something to do for yourself. She was like, you should write one of those books you're always reading. Cause I was like a 4-book-a-week kind of gal. Like I was really burning through the romance books at that time in my life. Well, and, when your kids are small, right? Like sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night for like feeding or like to help them go back to sleep or like whatever. And then you can't always just like crash back out. So I would just read. Like I would, rather than getting worried about it, I would just pick up my Kindle and like read until I fell asleep again. So my kid was a bad sleeper. So I did a lot of reading. And so, yeah, I was like, I kind of like brushed her off, but then I don't know, in a moment of desperation, I started trying it out and waking up early and just sort of like tinkering with something that I thought was a fun concept. And that took me a little while to write. And then I kind of had this book and I was like, well, I don't know what to do with it. So I self-published it to like almost no acclaim whatsoever. I'm pretty sure my family bought most of the copies during release week. But I kind of had the bug. I was like, I want to do it again. I want to see if I can improve. Like, I've always been pretty sporty and competitive. So I think I sort of like took that mindset to publishing and writing at that point in my career. And, you know, when the world was just so weird, it was, I think, really therapeutic for me to sort of escape into this other world that I was creating. And my mom was right. I did have a couple hours to myself first thing in the morning. And yeah, so I just kind of went from there and pushed my way through that series. And then that was Gold Rush Ranch, and Chestnut Springs kind of took off from there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say, like, I am just always like so in awe of like, if I like sat down to write a book, I don't even know how I would do it. Like, I mean,
yeah.
Well, especially like during the pandemic, and you know, everyone's like mentally like just, you know, and you're taking care of like you know, we have young toddlers and
I had when the pandemic started, I had a 3-month-old and a 3-year-old. And
well, you said your kid is starting grade 4 and mine's in grade 4 now. So,
and I remember thinking to my, like, I would tell people all the time, I was like, if you ever like, COVID is probably why we never had a third kid. I mean, lots of reasons, but like, I was like, oh no, after being at home with 2, I was like, no, 3 is not in my journey. Like, could not. And it always made me laugh. I was like, so many of my friends had second babies during COVID. And I'm like, really? You were like, yeah.
We're all just looking for something to do.
Right.
I was like,
Elsie's like, I'm just going to write some books.
Yeah, exactly.
Be productive. That's awesome.
So what does like a typical day of writing look like for you?
I feel like do my best work early in the morning. I feel the most fresh. I feel the most creative. So I usually still get up at like 5 or slightly before. My husband wakes up and makes me a coffee. So I have my water, and then he'll bring a coffee into my office, and I'll just like flow through. If I'm like really up against a deadline, I'll just write. I'll like take a break, have breakfast with my son and kind of thing. And then they'll go to school and I'll just keep working. Usually until I hit kind of a stopping point that I feel good about, or that like I'll set a goal for myself. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to do 2 chapters today.
Sure.
And then I try to not go into my email. I don't really do much of my own social media anymore. So, that's mostly off my plate, but like my email, it's like if I start off my day scrolling or checking my email, my focus is shot. So I try really hard to like leave that until after.
Sure.
Yeah. And then I'll go to the barn, ride my horse, walk my dog, hit the Peloton, go outside if it's not like the dead of winter.
Right.
But yeah, just try and like take breaks. It's been a lot of books in a short amount of time, and my body has started to revolt a little bit to like sitting for hours on end and like day after day after day. So I've had to like just kind of adjust the way that I approach getting stuff done. I can't just like work for 6 hours straight anymore. So yeah, and then I usually am like, I would say I'm usually done like writing by lunchtime, and then I can kind of like move on to other things.
Oh, that's it. I mean, because that's still like a full day.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It leaves me like a lot of free time. I mean, I know I have to get up early, but it's also like for kind of like a limited amount of time that I'm drafting, right? Because that's usually kind of like the most intense, difficult part of the process for me. So, like if I have to wake up at 5 for like 6 weeks. That's not that bad.
Yeah. This was not part of our questions that we had outlined, but do you take a break? Like after you are done with the drafting and editing and a book gets published, do you take much of a break in between then starting your next one?
So I haven't been until just the end of Rose Hill. Like I was publishing like 3 books a year.
I was going to say Rose Hill really came out like
Rose Hill was twice a year. So I think Chestnut Springs, there might have been 1 year, like at not my first year publishing, but my second year publishing, where I had 4 books, like or 4 books in a 12-month span, like maybe not a calendar year. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, I don't like that. That was a lot. But also going from indie to trad, like
it's a slower process.
It's a much, like you just like physically cannot publish as quickly. So even with like a publisher in the mix, doing Rose Hill every 6 months felt totally relentless, just because there's like more editing and like more administrative work, and there's tour, everything's just like bigger. And so now I've slowed down even more than that. I did take a little break when I finished that year. Actually, did I go straight into writing Fever Dream and then take a break? I forgot. But yeah, so now I'll be doing like 1 book a year. So that gives me, basically, I'm writing this book, and then the heaviest part of our edits will be probably in June. And then I'll have the summer to kind of like relax. And it's just like line edits, copy edits, proofreading, which is a whole lot less intense than like the first draft and then the content edits.
Right. Yeah. But even a book a year, even like sometimes I'm like, it's only, please like feel free to like slow down and take a few years. Like, I mean, that's still so impressive to me. Like, because you're not taking a year to write it. I feel like it's like a few months where you're like, wow, you just cranked out like a full ass book. Like that is incredible.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I can always tell, like if I take a break, my brain starts, like I was recently in France, and I was feeling like I had to walk away from this manuscript for a little bit and travel and do some events and stuff. And then I was like, my brain starts going when I take a break from the manuscript, and I start like writing down notes and having ideas. And then I'm almost like itching to get back to my computer and like get them all down. Okay. So I think if I can take long enough breaks to kind of harness that feeling where I'm like desperate to like spend time with the characters, and it feels good, then like that's kind of like the magic for me.
And it's interesting you say that, because I've worked in content creation forever, like 16 years. And maybe probably around the time that my son was born, I started giving myself a few weeks off, like over the Christmas holidays. Yeah. And because I would write like straight through and have posts up daily and content daily. And it just like really, I started to like really burn out. And so like a few times a year now, I'll like give myself a couple weeks. And I kind of noticed, I mean, obviously like very different world, but like I noticed that like then I get more ideas, or like I'm more excited to do it. And even with the podcast, like there will be times where we'll do like a 3 or 4 week break. And then I'm like, oh, I have so many ideas now and like so many things I want to talk about.
It's
and
like
I just
have to like fill the well again, right?
But I think this is like a very common thing with women, especially, where like we almost like don't allow ourselves to take breaks from things and like refuel or fill our cups or just like take a beat, because it's like so ingrained in us in this day and time to like,
be productive.
Hustle culture. But it's hustle culture, and it's 100%. Just everything is hustle culture, and it's, like eventually you do get burned out. And like, my husband works for the government, and like they have like a dumb amount of vacation days, and he's like, I really need to use like I really feel burned out. I'm like, you have like 40 vacation days, like take a day. He's like, but it's like he takes a day and he's like, now I'm gonna do house projects. I'm like, it is also okay to do nothing. Like it's okay to take a day off and like actually like
just be a potato on the couch.
And I am guilty. Like I am not good at doing that. Like even like on a weekend where we don't have plans, I'm like, oh, I should like organize something, or I should make
my husband's like that.
I don't.
Yeah.
But what's funny to me is like every day at like 6 p.m., I feel like my brain completely shuts down and I'm like, I am in rot mode. I'm like, once like 6 p.m. rolls around, I'm like,
people are sometimes surprised I don't work at night. They're like, oh, really? And I'm like, not unless I like absolutely have to, because I feel like I just turn stupid past a certain time. Like I just like,
but we're all three like morning people. And I think when you're an early morning person, like, I don't know.
Like 4 p.m. I'm like, can I put my pajamas on? Like, is that too?
My pajamas.
Like,
if we come home from like an extracurricular activity and we're home the rest of the day, makeup off, pajamas on, like, no, we're in rot
is like
mode.
powering down.
Yeah.
I completely power down by like 6 p.m. Like my dad will call and be like, "You're always like laying down." I'm like, "Cause you call me at night. Like, what do you want me to be doing? Should I be like laps?
Oh my gosh.
Should I be like on the treadmill? Like, what do you want?"
Elsie, was there a particular book or like series that was easier to write than others?
I think that for me, usually, except for my debut, like usually the first book in a series is really easy for me to write because usually it's a story that's been living in my head for a really long time. So I have a very clear idea of what I want it to be and who the characters are. And there's sort of like this fresh excitement with a new world, right? I don't have to be like, how old was that person? And like, does this timeline match up? And hey, like, I'll pull out like my series Bible that my assistant keeps of like all these details. I'm like, what was that bar called? Like, trying to match up all the details as you like move through a series. So there's like definitely a level of freedom that comes with like, I'll just call it whatever I want. And it can be a street called this. And it's just, just that sort of like room to play is really inspiring. So I usually find that to be the easiest. And there's certain books too. I think usually if there's like the character voices are really loud in my head that I find fall to the page, very easily. I would say like Flawless, Reckless, the Front Runner from my first series, I think might be like the fastest I've ever written a book. I love that book so much. And Wild Side, even though there was like definitely some heavy content in there.
I loved Wild Side. I think Wild Side was my favorite of that series.
It's my favorite too. I just love Reese and Tabby so much. And I think when I love the heroine and like her vibes and her character, that it's really easy to like,
did you love
self-insert maybe? I don't know, but I'm like, oh, she's so funny. She's like a little bit snarky. I totally relate to this or this or this. And so, yeah.
What were Kate and Willow like a favorite of yours to write? Was that one that you loved? Or was that a harder one?
No, that was an easy one. I wrote that one over the summer. I was.
Can you tell I have a favorite?
Word sprints with Candy Steiner and Lena Hendricks, and the three of us that summer. All three of us. It's like we started a book on the same day, and we all just like hammered them out over the summer really early because Lena has kids too, and it was like like then your kids are home and you can't,
all day.
Yeah, your day is like toast. So we like sat down early in the mornings, and they're both East Coast, I think. So it was less early for them, but for me, I was like, going. So that one definitely fell to the page really easily. And I love them, but I almost feel like because my fans love them so much, it's just taken on this like different, I have a different relationship with Kate and Willa because people are so obsessed with them specifically that I'm like, you guys can have them. I'll pick somebody else.
I will say, like, I remember when I saw that like Winter was going to be a main character in a book, thinking like, but I will tell you, and I wonder if that was, and I know we're like getting very off of our questions, but like knowing that you were going to have to write like such a redemption arc for somebody because like you really love her by the end of the book and like get her
100%.
and like, whereas I feel like that's got to be like kind of a challenge to be like, okay, we're taking a character that like people don't want to read
I dig that challenge though. I love a redemption arc. And I knew when I wrote Flawless that I was going to do that. So it was funny being like, knowing what I knew, but Flawless would release and people would be like, I hate Winter. Like I'd see these comments online about how awful she is. And I was kind of like, oh,
like, just wait.
I've got my work cut out for me because you guys really hate her. But yeah, then like, peppering it through a little bit, I think.
Okay, so like obviously you don't have to tell us, but this is making me wonder. It's like Fever Dream that's coming out.
Yes.
Do you like A, do you know how many books are going to be in that series? And then like B, do you know like, okay, like this is, book 2, these are who's like, this is his and her book. And like book 3 or however, like, do you know each couple of the books?
I do. Yeah.
So you have that. Okay, so like when you're in this first draft, like they're all kind of like, as you're writing, are they coming together and you're like, oh, like there's a spark there? Or are you like, has this been plotted? Like, how does that come about?
It's definitely plotted in like a kind of a broader series sense. So like, I know that this series will be 4 books. There's 4 siblings. They're all going to get a book. Okay. And I knew that I was going to do Emmett and Julia like probably at the end of Chestnut Springs, but I just had like other pressing ideas that I was excited to go explore first.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I knew that I was going to do Emmett and Julia, but I didn't know like what Emmett's family would look like or anything like that. So then that was kind of where I plotted like the setting and the family members. And then usually I have like an idea list or whatever, like, oh, it would be fun if this was the dynamic, or like, I want to say the trope, but that's oversimplifying it a little bit. Like the tropes kind of come as like, very naturally once you start to work through the story, I find. I mean, of course there's like big hard hitting ones where you're like, okay, it's single dad, like, or it's nanny, or it's friends to
like
lovers, your kind of thing.
Best friends, like
I think it's so funny how many people want a Harvey book. Like people just like
I know.
Like I feel like every time you do Q&As, they're like, "Are we getting?" You're like, guys, like we've talked about this. Like,
yeah, no, he's 70. Just let him be happy.
But like, I love that there is a love for that.
I do too. And I think part of what's so funny about it is I did not expect that. Like when I wrote Harvey, I was like, he's a funny, slightly inappropriate old man. Like we all know one. We all like have that person in our life in some, capacity. And so it was kind of like this amalgamation of funny one-liners and just like a patriarch to sort of hold the family together. I did not expect like, I guess, like the sort of like sexual application.
Following.
Like, yeah, I was like, oh, I thought they would be like, oh, he's so cute and I love him and like protect Harvey at all costs or something. I didn't expect them to be like, I want to see Harvey get down. Like that was
I will say like I am totally okay not seeing her in my head. He's just like totally happy. Yeah. Oh, I would read anything you write in a second. Yeah, I don't even read thrillers. Tell me you wrote a thriller, I'll become a thriller
chapters
writer.
Of like at the end of each book, and then I had them recorded in audio, so they're free on my website. Like there's a little love story to the side, but yeah, it's not explicit.
It's so just funny. I feel like people with any of your books, like the series, just like really love the characters so much, and
they do.
I feel like you don't see that with every author, where people you've moved on to another series, but people are still like me are like, oh my gosh, but like this and these characters, and I feel like that's just really says something about your writing, because I mean you really make people fall in love with the characters and their stories.
And like, guys, these are not real people. Like, are y'all okay? But they're so like lovable, and you've made them really come to life like on the page.
Well, and speaking 100%. Of if you wrote it, I would read it. I know you love the cowboy romance arena and you shine there, but would you ever write something that's like totally out of left field, do you think? Or it's like a never say never kind of thing?
I think I would at some point. I think that my brain might enjoy that.
I feel like I sense that you already have ideas percolating.
Maybe.
She's like, I might.
Yeah. We'll see.
When her fairy smut books come out in a couple years, we'll know.
Right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
For
Okay,
sure.
so I read your Cosmo interview, and I that was like I loved that. Can you talk more about the biggest changes from going to like, publishing as an indie to working with a big five publisher?
Yeah. It's an adjustment. It's wonderful, and I'm like so grateful for the opportunity. It's amazing to have so many people in your corner working on kind of like just your books and getting them out there. Having an entire dedicated team to just like pushing your books on new readers is kind of crazy if you like really break it down in such simple terms. But it's definitely an adjustment. Like when you're indie, you can do whatever you want, and like you can publish on any day you want. You choose your own covers, you choose your own fonts, you get to format your own book. There's just like a level of control that you start to get used to. You are like the author, the artist, the CEO, the accountant, the world is your oyster kind of. And then, all of a sudden there's more chefs in the kitchen. And so that I think was like the hardest adjustment for me. I'm just kind of, I wouldn't say I'm like a control freak. It's just, I find that when I know what I'm doing and like when my team knows what they're doing, we're super efficient. And so sometimes when it grows so much, it's like the inefficiency of it drives me crazy, and like, what do you mean we need 10 emails about this? Like I could have made this decision 2 weeks ago. So
when it has to go through like so many channels and
all
filters
these approvals,
of somebody,
right? Like the cover, and they're like, we want to see what the retailers think of it and our art department, and we're going to test it on like this and that. And I'm like, oh my God, we still pick my favorite. So, but, so I do think there's just like more process, more opinions. And I do think with that comes like a lot of refinement. Like the cover, even like we went through so many iterations and like tweaks and adjustments and like even the editing process. Like when I was indie, it was like I would reread my first draft. I would send it to my editor. She would do like line edits and give me some general kind of like story level content. Like, oh, I really would love a scene with this. And so then I would do that, send her back the new bits. And then do my read through, get it proofread, upload it like 3 days before it would release. Like it was really so streamlined. But of course there was like typos or formatting errors or like things that don't get caught. Whereas now it's like it's like exhaustive, the level, like I've never read a book in my life more times than I've read Fever Dream. Like it was like this content edit, that content edit, this line edit, another line edit, like this copy edit, and by the end of it, I was like, I don't even like, I couldn't see, like, I wouldn't be able to even notice a typo because it's almost like I could recite the book to you. Right. So yeah, that part has definitely changed for sure.
Have you seen those like the Instagram reels where they're like, I'm totally go with the flow. Like I'm not a control freak as long as like everything goes my way. I get to plan like when
literally me.
When they leave, everything goes according to plan. Nothing goes wrong. I like, so as if as an actual control freak, like I always am like, yeah, that's
totally
me.
If you've ever read or watched People We Meet on Vacation, I am not her, I am him. Like when they get on, have you watched the movie? I've watched it. Like,
yes, I have.
What did you think of it? Because Kailey and I have extremely different opinions of it. I loved it.
I love it.
I didn't give it. I didn't really give it much of a chance. If I sat down and like was committed,
now you're outnumbered and you're walking it back.
She's like, no, she hasn't finished it.
I didn't finish it. I was like reading a book. My husband was like, "Do you want to watch this?" I was like, "Oh, I read the book," and then I was like, "I'm not really into this. Like, I think you need to like not have any phone or like Kindle out, and I just need to like commit to it because I really like the book."
Totally.
My husband, who is like unapologetically obsessed with rom-coms, is like now touts that as like one of his favorite movies, and so we watch it all the time.
I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the book too, though. So
same.
Yeah.
When I read a book or watch a movie or anything, I want to kick my feet. Like if I have the kicking my feet giddy sensation, I'm like, like for instance, like reading anything in Chestnut. Like, I just like, even though like with the Chestnut Springs books, like there are definitely like deeper things happening and like harder conversations, and like there's some hard stuff, but like you're still just like giddy obsessed with these people.
Right, like,
and so
the banter and like the chemistry, and you're like, oh my God, like the like, swooning and the yearning.
Watching people we meet on vacation, like watching the way he is, I'm like, this could not be more me. Like when we had kids and they started eating in the car, and like I had to let go of a part of myself that like cared about what the inside of my car looked like anymore. Because I was like, you know, there's like, yes, there are Cheerios and Goldfish like just embedded into the seats of my car that will never come out. Like my car will never not look like a car that children basically spend all their time in. But yeah, I could never, I kind of like getting back to what you were saying, like I imagine just like going from having complete control over something to like where you still have control, but just being like, okay, like I've had to let go of some of these things. Like it's probably one of those things that just like takes like every time you publish a book, I imagine it will get like a little bit less.
Yeah. And I think the more that I like delegate and protect my peace, and like I work with a success coach who like, or an author coach, and her one big thing that she always tells me is like, only you can do what only you can do, which is like, I'm the only one who can write the books. So like if my email and my social media and my Zoom calls and my like emails back and forth about like this edition or that edition are preventing me from sitting down and having like a really productive writing session, then like I need to figure out how I can offload those to people that I trust. And my son the other day accused me of having trust issues. So maybe.
Is your son your one that's going into fourth grade or in fourth grade?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I am dealing with, I don't know if this is an age thing. He's 9. And I wouldn't say he's testing the waters with lying, but I will say he's testing the water with the way that truth is coming about. And just like general things, like this morning, they left for school, and I was like, I felt like I was such a bad mom this morning because I'm just like yelling at him because my kids got their yearbooks last week and he's lost his already, right? And I'm he's like, well, can you just buy me another one? I'm like, yeah, I can. That's not the point. The point is I bought you one. And so like we're making him pay for it himself because I'm like, no, like
good.
But like, and I know that it's like an important lesson that he needs to learn, but I feel like all I'm doing right now with him is that we're teaching him lessons. Yeah. And then my 6-year-old, of course, she's like, my room is clean. Like, cause you know, that younger one,
the second sibling, she's like, mommy, mine's right here. And I'm like, you're not helping. Like,
I mean, that was literally Charlotte. She's like, I'm going to have all my friends sign my yearbook today because it's in my backpack. And I was like, like, not the time.
Just really
my son also
the point home for you.
Well, he also has ADHD. And so just his executive functioning in general is like so not there. That like
it's also just a scattered age. Like even with my son, it's like, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this?
He left his lunchbox at school yesterday. I'm like, how are you, end of 3rd grade, less responsible than your kindergarten sister? Like I need to understand how she manages to get her lunchbox home every day. But like jackets, water bottles, and lunchbox, like all 3 are not coming home.
Yeah.
The number of time my kids have left their jackets at home before school. Like we'll be getting out of the car because we do carpool. So I'm like, okay, like I'm like, wait, where's your coat? They're like, oh, I don't have it. I'm like, it's December. Like you just always like
Liam has left his full ass backpack at home, and I'm like, now I have to bring your back. I have to do this carpool line again just to drop off your goddamn backpack.
Bless these kids.
We wanted kids, right? Like I in my right mind signed up for this. Okay, so you've talked about the adaptations a lot at the beginning, but what is the part that has like surprised you just about like the getting rights, now the show going to Amazon,
getting greenlit?
Like what is like what has been the most surprising of it all, good or bad?
Most surprising, I feel like it's like they've moved so slowly that you know, I think that every time, I think the most surprising is like when it jumps ahead almost, because some of these projects have been in the works for like, I knew Netflix like 2 years ago. I went to their offices and met with them and stuff. Like it was, so it's like every time that like, oh, we get to announce it, it's like, oh my gosh, we're finally here. Or like, oh, I got, you know, a script for the first episode. And like every little step forward that feels like a little bit more real is somehow surprising, because I kind of took on this mindset with all of the TV stuff that like, if it happens, that would be great. But it's so kind of unlikely that it's like I prevented myself from getting too excited at the beginning so that I wouldn't like, I was like bringing my trust issues into it. I was like, I'm not going to commit to being excited about this until it's like really happening. Yeah. But now that
Netflix, is Netflix greenlit? Like they have the rights?
No, they have the rights. Okay. It is moving. Okay. It is moving.
Is this for Chestnut Springs?
For Chestnut Springs, yeah. Yeah, but it's not greenlit yet. So
okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's probably like you don't want to like get your hopes up because you're like, this is great, but like nothing is promised
and
tomorrow.
Even when we went from like just Heidi writing Rose Hill to Amazon saying like, okay, we're ordering a writer's room, which is when Heidi gets to go and hire more writers. And then they kind of like start hammering through like more episodes and like a full series format and like outlines and that kind of thing. And she's got help in the room and people to bounce ideas off of. I said to her like, well, does this mean like, is this a good sign? Like, does this mean like it's going to get made? Right. And she was like, it's a great sign, but this doesn't mean it's going to, she was like, I've done writers' rooms and had the show not get made. Like there's like always, there's like, oh, and I'm like, man, these poor writers, like at least when I write a book, I can publish it. I'm like, these poor people must have trauma from like working so hard on something. And then the studio just goes, you know, it's like, I don't know if it's right for our lineup this season, or we're just going to hold off, or, you know. So
I will say it's funny to me, just like thinking about like the trajectory of adaptations. We're like, we used to live in a time where only like Stephen King books or like John Grisham books were getting adaptations, right? It was like you had
over
to
and over and over.
Right. Like literally John Grisham was like, they're all movies. I mean, every single one of them. And now it's like so many women's books like that women are writing are getting adaptations and are becoming these like insanely successful series or movies. And it's like, I mean, gosh, it's like Emily Henry, you know, they're like, yeah, we're going to make them all. Like,
her and
one
Colleen
was good.
Hoover. I was like, I don't know which Colleen Hoover movie it is. There's so many coming out.
Well, I was explaining Colleen Hoover to someone one day and they were like, is there a car crash in every book? And I was like, there are a lot of car crashes in her book. Like I was thinking, because I had given like 3 examples and I was like, and then there was a car crash. And she's like, wait,
is this like a car line?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know. Like, I was like, I've read a lot of them and they do kind of become very like like they're very much like tragedy. And I'm like, I don't do well with like hardcore tragedy. Like I watched, what was the one that just came out? The Colleen Hoover one. Where she got out of jail. Reminders of him. Okay,
wait, was it good? I tried to watch it. No, I tried to watch it on the plane. They didn't have it out yet.
No, neither. I watched Regretting You and Reminders of Him, and both of them I was like,
I haven't watched it.
Wait, worse than It Ends With Us?
I never watched it on principle.
Okay.
I did not watch It Ends With Us because by the time it came out, I was so sick of hearing about all the drama around it that I was like, I don't even want to watch the movie because I did not like that book. I didn't like the book.
Oh, I loved the book, but I also read it like when I was like 20, so or 25, whenever it came out. I was like,
they're never going to make the one Colleen Hoover book that I really love, which is Ugly Love, which is probably like the most traumatizing of her books. They're never making that. And it's fine. But I also just like, I don't know, like in my head, like Chestnut Springs is like a 5-season series. Like I just, it needs to happen or I will riot and I will take myself to Netflix and demand they do it.
They are hard at work. They are hard at work.
Well, you get to like, last like adaptation question. Do you get to like give casting input? How does that work? I know, are you allowed to like talk about that?
I think
and if you're not, like, it's okay.
No, you know, like, I think for like my experience anyways, is like the two projects do function quite differently. Between like just who's involved and sort of like their approach to adaptation. I've been really fortunate with Rose Hill that Heidi just keeps me so involved, and that her and I like really have hit it off on like a personal level. So I definitely am not like a final say on anything. And it's a little bit like working with a publisher in that, like, I think that our casting director and Heidi will find these people that they like and they'll show them to me, and I'll get to say something, and then they'll show them to the production company and they'll get to say something, and then there will be chemistry reads, which will be super important. And then at the end of the day, like, the studio can say, we didn't actually love this one. And like, that's where we all just kind of have to go, like, well, are we going to dig in, or do we want to get it made and go back to the drawing board? And it's like a way more complicated process. Like, I think people are like, oh my gosh, I hope ELSIE tells them that it has to be this person. And I'm like,
I would say though,
I love that you think I have that kind of pull, but I promise you that I don't.
In watching a lot of these adaptations, I actually really like that most of them are people I don't know. Like, I
100%.
am like realizing that I'm really preferring that, because like even with normal people, like I had no idea who Daisy Edgar Jones was at the time, and now she's like obviously like very, very famous. Same with Paul Mescal. Like, I think that's
all
better
the Bridgerton
than like
actors.
Yes, like I think it's so much better than like a movie like Verity where they're like Dakota Johnson, like we're just like throwing these big celebrities, and so it's like you already have these preconceived notions of people, and I think that almost isn't a good idea. Like, I think like with Off Campus, the only person I knew on that show is the guy who plays Garrett Graham's dad, which is Steve Howey, because I was both a Reba fan and a Shameless fan. And watching Steve Howey play a college student's dad is really humbling to my heart.
You're like, wait a second, what?
I was like,
I think go ahead.
Oh, no. You go ahead.
I think also people don't realize, like, yes, like I also love a fresh face, because I think that you can, like, I don't know if you guys have watched Tell Me Lies, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the tension, like those two, the main character, I know they're dating in real life now, but they weren't before, and that's because their chemistry is off the charts. Like, it translates so well.
Yes.
I interviewed Carola Levering for the podcast, and like couldn't be a nicer person. I read Tell Me Lies, the book, when it came out. Like,
oh really?
Long before the show. Yeah. That was her only book out. And I read it on a flight, and I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, I dated him. Like, I was in a relationship, like, so, I mean, not like,
not quite,
chaotic,
not extreme.
But like, and people were like, I remember when it became such a big show, then people were reading the book and they're like, well, the book is nothing like it. I'm like, well, yeah, of course, this is a 3-season show.
Totally.
The book, like, what, and that just like goes back to our whole, like, there obviously has to be changes. To me, Tell Me Lies is one of the better done adaptations that I've seen. It's just
so good.
And I think what I was going to say with casting and like fresh faces is also one of the things that I didn't, maybe this is something that surprised me going in, is like the casting of it all. Things I didn't think about is like, you know, you can kind of put a bigger name on a movie because it's a very limited engagement. Mm-hmm. Whereas the TV show, they kind of have to commit to potentially like years, depending on if it gets renewed or not. And so there's like, they have to be able to commit long-term. They have to be available. Like, we're casting right now and probably filming this summer. So like, it's not like we're planning for a year out, you know? So somebody has to be available. And then when you start looking at, say, Chestnut Springs, where it gets like a little bit more complicated, is the people who are family members need to look like they're family members.
Right.
So like, and people are, you know, they'll have these fan casts, and I'm like, I get it. Like, Jensen Ackles is a very good looking man. 100%. I mean, he is pushing 50. Like,
I will tell you, I don't know what
still hot in my head. Play a 38-year-old. Like, I respect that fan cast. I really do, and I love that. Y'all in your head, but on TV, that's gonna not translate right, because then if we're casting a woman in her 20s, that gap is gonna look even more weird. And his kid is
like,
gonna
for
look...
people like Jensen Ackles, though, like, certain people are in your head just stay the age they are when you like first like in my head
he just looks like Dean Winchester.
In my head it's like any WB actor is just permanently like 20 to 25 like whereas I mean other than Joshua Jackson, who my god, that man just gets better with age. Like
true,
talk about a man who I thought was cute when I was 12 and now I'm 42 and I'm like, you're still like super hot. And
totally. Actually, fun fact, anything. When I lived in Vancouver, I worked at a restaurant across the street from the Supernatural set, like where they did a lot of like the main filming. So Jansen Ackles and Jared Padalecki would come in for lunch like all the time. So yeah, I would have to like be like, don't spill their Coke on them. Like, yeah. But they are genuinely like, I think part of I love them even now is like, I know firsthand how people sometimes treat serving staff, and they were just lovely. So
and I think that's
forever fan.
Oh, go ahead, Kailey.
I was gonna say, switching gears slightly, will you tell us about your new Emerald Lake series and Fever Dream? So the day this airs will be May 19th. So as you're listening to this, Fever Dream is out in the world, but what can you tell us about Emerald Lake?
Emerald Lake, yeah. So loosely based on, I mean, not exact. People sometimes are like, this isn't like that, but it's loosely based on Kelowna, British Columbia, which is somewhere that I lived for a good chunk of my life. And it's kind of like the desert-y winemaking region of Western Canada. There's mountains and there's lakes. It gets super hot in the summer. There's skiing in the winter. When we lived there, we jokingly called it Adventure Bay because there's like everything, like like Paw Patrol style. Like it was like, oh, you can ski, you can boat, you can, everything is there. And so yeah, it's loosely based on that, but it's also heavily influenced by my summers spent working on a horse farm, like a massive breeding operation. So I've kind of gone from like horse raising, cowboys, small town. This one's more like performance horses. So like breeding and training for Olympic sports, like show jumping and dressage and kind of like that side, the equestrian side of it all. But it is set on their farm is struggling. And so what I brought forward from those experiences in my youth is like just sort of the behind the scenes look at, yes, the sport is wildly, wealthy and polished, but the people who are breeding the horses are not necessarily living that lifestyle. And there's sort of this fascination or obsession with like breeding that breakout horse that like might take you to like the top levels of the sport and have, Style Brant be the place that people come to buy their next champion sort of thing. So sort of bringing a little bit of that in. And so, yeah, each book will be sort of centered around the farm in some way. And yeah, it's like another fun little mountain town.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's sitting on my Kindle. I like cannot wait to dive in. Like when you are so excited, you kind of like want to save it and you're like, I want to like save it, but like
for the right moment. I know that feeling. Yeah.
And yeah. And I'm just, like you're so excited because then like, you're like, well, once I read it, it'll be done.
Yeah.
So it's like Christmas Day coming where you're like, I'm so excited for it, but like after it's over, it's over. So like, us book readers, 100%. Like that weird feeling that, only we understand. So
yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So excited for that.
Are you allowed to give us any sort of like sneak peeks at what's next?
Yeah, I think that once people read Fever Dream, they'll have like an inkling of which sibling is up next. I will say that it's probably a little bit of a bait and switch because what you think the setup will be for this book based on what you get, or for book 2, based on what you get in Fever Dream, isn't exactly what you're going to get. But it's still going to bring the forbidden vibes. And I really love it. It's one of those books where I'm like, oh, I really love the heroine in this book, like the sister Parker. She's I don't know, one of like the prickly heroines that I relate to and kind of love a little bit extra. So,
is that the draft you're working on right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
Do we know about when it comes out?
It will be probably next May. Yeah.
Girl, I'm glad that you are giving yourself more of like a
breather. Me too. Yeah. Because I'm like, I have the summer. I'm gonna go be on set, you know. So,
but also like just like chill vibe summer, like just
100%.
You know, sleep, veg, watch
live your
off
life.
Campus.
100%. Watch off campus.
Oh my gosh.
Veg, watch off campus.
Be like,
feels like a t-shirt.
I mean, but watch out, like off campus. It's like, you know, like sometimes you just need like some brain/eye candy, and
totally,
you know,
it's just like a good time. You know, I don't always have to be challenged. I will say, I just want to enjoy myself.
Much like Tell Me Lies, the music in Off Campus is very good. Like
the music in Tell Me Lies is amazing.
I mean, I don't know if a show will ever have. I mean, this also ages me. That's how I felt about like One Tree Hill and the OC. Is like the music was so top tier that like, and then watching Tell Me. I mean, almost every week on Tell Me Lies, I would be like adding songs to like my Apple Music. I'd be like, oh nope, need that. But I will say I added like 8 songs yesterday watching.
Oh, amazing.
Off Campus. Okay. So I was like, look at me, new artists.
You're like so cool. Oh my gosh, too funny. Okay, so Elsie, before we do like our quick rapid fire this or that, we like the last question we always ask, because it's big yap energies, we say, what are you like yapping about at the moment? And it's just like, what are you like really into? What are you obsessed with? It could be like a new pair of pants. It could be, you know, a lip gloss. It could be a book. Like, what are you just, or a recipe that you're like, I'm telling everybody about this and I can't shut up about it.
Well, I like just got back into horseback riding more competitively again, which I grew up doing. I bought myself a horse in December.
Oh my gosh.
Just kind of like out of the blue, I was like, I'm going right back into this. Like same thing with like the work-life balance of it all. I was like, I'm doing this. It's like my brain needs it. And so I bought this horse. Her name is Dolly, and I feel like I'm really obsessed with her right now. Like I have morphed from sending pictures of like my kid and my dog to like, you know, like you can tell your camera roll. It's like, you know, you have a baby and you're like, oh my God, it's all baby pictures. And then you have a puppy and it's whatever. I feel like right now my camera roll is like all Dolly. I'm having the most fun with her. And, it's like it's nostalgic. Like even just the smell of being out at the barn, it's so good for my soul. So
do you want to know a crazy
back in my horse girl era?
Elsie, crazy fact. Grown up, I've lived in Texas my whole life. I've never ridden a horse.
Oh, really?
This is like one of the most surprising things people find out about me is that I've just never, my daughter, both my kids have ridden horses. I just never have. Not for any reason other than the opportunity has never once presented itself. But I just think that's so funny because I'm like, oh, I live in Texas. And I remember people would be like, oh, do you like ride a horse to school? I'm like, no, I live in Dallas. I live in like one of the biggest cities in the country.
If we live in igloos. It's like, well, just because you're in Texas doesn't mean that you're
it's very the kind of like notions that people have about certain areas of both the world and the United States. It's like my husband and I went to Europe and we would talk to people. I'm like, I didn't vote for him. Like before I said anything, I'd be like, I didn't, it wasn't me. Like,
just like wearing your Kamala button on your,
I was like, guys, it was just that no. But like, you know, it's that kind of thing where it's like, also because I live in Texas, like there's that assumption or it's just funny to me. But like my husband used to work for BlackBerry. So he would go to Canada all the time. I've never been to Canada. But he is obsessed with Canada and he's like, it's the best food. He's like, we have to go. I was like, listen, I'm ready. Take me in the Texas summers though, because it is about to be like 300 degrees here every day. And like, I want zero part of this.
It's almost like the opposite, like where like you kind of get moved inside because it's so hot in the summertime. And then we kind of get moved inside because it's so cold in the wintertime, you know?
Oh my gosh.
I was talking to Becca Mack one time and I was like, I could never do it. Like I could never live somewhere with super harsh winters because we'll get like a month of a really harsh winter here. And by harsh, I mean like the wind chill is like -10. And I'm like, I can't go outside. I mean, like, we'll cancel school. They'll be like, it's too cold. No snow on the ground, but they're like, kids can't go to school. It's much too cold for that.
Kind of, Yeah. I have a friend who moved here from Brazil, and she loves it.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, the first couple of winters, she was like, this is a natural disaster. Like, I can't believe you are all just out going about your lives. Like, this in any other part of the world would qualify as a natural disaster.
Oh,
I mean, like,
saying that, I remember, and I was like, I don't know, it was like actually not that much snow.
We had a week of school canceled in January. The problem is we get a lot of ice. So like it'll ice and then snow, and like you really can't drive on the ice. But of snow, we probably had half an inch of snow, and the kids were out of school for a week. I mean,
that's so funny.
Please stop. Yeah.
Okay. So we always end on like a rapid fire this or that. It's just 4 questions. Very first answer that comes to your mind.
It's just 3 today.
Oh, sorry. 3 questions.
3.
This or that, sorry? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we give you 2 things and you tell us which one. All right.
Okay.
First one, bull rider or ranch owner?
Bull rider.
All right. Enemies to lovers or second chance romance?
Ooh. Probably enemies to lovers. But I always feel like, it depends. I do love a second chance romance, but I'm like picky about why the second chance is being given. So
you're like,
yes, that's
it has to be like
it can't be irredeemable, but it has to be like sufficient for them to have broken up. But
but I do love the sort of like angst that comes with like a really good second chance romance. So yeah,
Same.
Second chance romance is my love language. Okay, last question. This is a pick your praise. Okay, so good girl or look at me.
Look at me.
Oh,
yeah.
Like we get a lot
I
of
like a good girl, but I feel like I'm like growing tired of it. Like sometimes I write it and I'm like, ugh, do better, Elsie. Like what else is there, you know?
Right.
Elsie, I assure you, you can put good girl in every book, and every time I'm going to be like, yes, more of that. But I always say, if my husband ever said that to me, I'd be like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
Immediate ick.
I'm also a sucker for like good eye contact. Sometimes I'm drafting and I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so stupid. It gets fixed eventually, but it's like, he looks at me, he stares at me, he gawks, his eyes shimmer, and I'm like, hey, I get it. They're staring at each other. Like, but I in my brain, like, love that, like the tension that comes with that, you know.
We were watching 10 Things I Hate About You over the weekend.
Gosh, I just watched that on a plane. I love it.
So good.
Yeah.
Holds up.
Yeah.
But like, do y'all feel like writing that guidance counselor? She was like so ahead of her time with the like writing her like smutty romance book.
So funny. Yeah.
Every time I watch it, I'm like my husband was like, oh, like the books you read. I was like, okay, hold on. Okay, Elsie, whore yourself out. Tell people where they can find you. Fever Dream is out. Go read it.
Fever Dream is out
immediately.
Yeah.
Where else can they find you?
You can follow me on Instagram or on TikTok. All of my socials are verified, so just find the blue check mark with author ELSIE SILVER, and join my newsletter because we send out kind of exclusive stuff every now and then if you want little bonus scenes. And I do have a bonus scene for Fever Dream that will be going out release week as well. So highly recommend checking that out.
Also,
thank
guys,
you so much.
Check out Elsie on tour because she is touring, and you can go see her. Especially if you're in Dallas, she's coming, and it's
Neely's
like a big I won't be there, unfortunately, but like for me. And then you can find the podcast everywhere at Big Yap Energy. You can find me everywhere at Neelykins, except TikTok where I'm Neely Moldovan. Kailey, where you at?
I'm on Instagram at KMC Reads.
Elsie,
awesome.
This was like an actual delight, pleasure.
So fun chatting with you guys. Thanks for having me.
I'm getting on a plane in 10 days. I will be reading Fever Dream. I cannot wait. I'm going to have to give my daughter some Elsa and Anna and be like, okay, give mommy a winner.
You get Elsie. Yeah.
Yes, she gets Elsa. I get Elsie, and we're good. But thank you so much. And guys, we will talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.